and he's still not reached his peak form. In fact, s1mple is doing about as well as you could realistically expect given that he's been gone for as long as he has. He's definitely not playing perfect, and to be honest, I feel like the scoreline he has in this series shows him as being better than he was, but he still is showing signs he is capable, maybe, of carrying Faze to a major win. But before we go any further, the sponsor of today's video. Skin Club is a top adult, that means 18 plus, case opening site with a huge variety of cases that can be unboxed to collect and upgrade skins. Skin Club's provably fair system guarantees a fair chance to all players that you can easily track, whether you're unboxing alone in your room or against users or bots on LAN, or anywhere in between. Skin Club lets you open individual cases solo, or you can try to unbox your favorite skin or a skin from your favorite creator. Hey, Vitality is on here, and so is Kerrigan. If you've had enough of that, come back another time and activate your daily case, which Skin Club has for free with up to 13 different levels based on your experience. If you'd rather try something different, you can find your perfect match in battle on Battle Tinder, or you can weigh the risks to upgrade your undesired garbage skins for something actually useful. Just put in the skin, look for an upgrade, and let it spin. Skin Club offers themed events monthly, bringing new cases, giveaways, and prizes you can get by playing on the platform. You can deposit with crypto, card, or the skin sitting in limbo that you never touch. Make sure to check out the link in the description for a 7% deposit bonus. Capable, maybe? That's overstating it. The thing is, he's actually hitting a lot of really insane shots, but the hardest thing tends to be when you come back from these sorts of hiatuses, at least in my experience, and what seems to be the case for most players I've seen, is that they struggle with the consistency a little bit. So when I look at s1mple, especially on Mirage, where he went something like 18 and 10, he actually lost them 3 rounds maybe by missing just kind of easy shots that he should be hitting, but then he also won them a round or two, and he does the same thing in this game. He wins them a round or two by hitting some pretty crazy shots, and he's still got it in terms of being in the right spot at the right time, as well as knowing when to go for a play and when to back up and take a frag. And that's probably the most important thing when you actually look at s1mple playing his first event back, playing his second series back. You want to see him show those signs that he's still got the read for the game, he's still got the game sense, he's still got the kind of killer instinct, and he is capable of hitting some shots, even if he's missing some shots as well. Because when it comes down to it, I mean, s1mple has always had a somewhat shaky aim, at least from what I can remember. But when he's in really good practice, it's not all that noticeable. At the moment, you can tell his aim looks like someone that's playing with a relatively high sensitivity, which he is, that just doesn't have perfect control over it for the kind of small flicks as opposed to the macro flicks, I guess you could say. It's like the micro adjustments versus the macro adjustments. I don't know. You'll understand exactly what I'm talking about as soon as he pulls out an op. But a decent number of his kills in this game come from anti-eco frags, which is fair enough. It is about being in the right spot at the right time, and I think with the current meta in CS, you can't actually sleep on a player that can consistently frag out against pistols, right? Like, it's not like they're quite as valuable as gun round kills, I would say, but at the same time, if you have someone that's bad on anti-eco, you actually will really struggle sometimes to build your economy the way you want to, and just having someone that can clean up those kills without dying is important. So we're already 5 rounds in before s1mple gets his first op. I mean, he's 7-0-5 right now. That's pretty insane, to be honest, but gets his first op, ends up just not being in the right spot, and that's kind of the reality of things. Kerrigan died early, so he had to make a bit of a gamble, I believe is why he left B. Rotates back over to B in the 4v4 retake, and it's just not going to end up working out in time. His 2 players coming through E-box die, and then that's just a really nice peek. He gets killed very quickly there. It's just one of those ones where it's very hard to react in time, especially if you have to counter strafe as well, which s1mple did there. The next round he gets the op back, and one of the things when I'm looking at this angle is I noticed he held a couple of times some angles that he just didn't react fast enough to shoot when he was holding them. He actually did this on the first series as well, but he did it twice in a row. First round he missed, second round he shot, so maybe he's just not fully comfortable with the angle to react at a very consistent speed all the time. Kind of unimportant for this round is he gets into a decent angle, hits the first shot, and then Elige actually gives him the flash to go for the repeat. Really nice play, very well coordinated, but he misses the shot, and then Elige actually saves his ass right after. Then he misses another shot that's completely understandable because Prime Taps does a really nice job of actually kind of baiting out the shot there, giving him a shoulder to look at and then unpeaking. It can be very tough to deal with that. But you can see even in that, s1mple's aim is quite shaky, but still he hits the shot that he needs to be hitting. And then the other two shots I think are both somewhat acceptable misses. But I mean, if we're talking about prime s1mple, I think he usually is going to hit that second shot. One of the things that s1mple is doing really well already, again, is that he's reading the game really well. He understands how his opponents might react to different things that happen on the map and where they might go in the following rounds. I'm assuming he's not being like microed or anything. I think he's making these calls on his own, and he's very regularly just on the right bomb site at the right time, right? So again, he's in the right spot at the right time, gets the easy frag, although that looked anything but easy. And then he gets into the right spot to cover Nexa moving through mid, gets the kill as well. And this is what ZywOo does that makes him so easy to underrate. You go in the right spot at the right time, you hit some easy shots, it just doesn't feel that hard. But one of the most underrated, honestly, abilities of s1mple throughout his career has been that initially, I think early on in his career, he did a lot of things where you wouldn't recommend other people do that, to copy it unless you're s1mple. Later on, he always played really fundamentally solid CS, and this is a great example of that. He gets into the right spot at the right exact moment. He goes for the initial repeak, misses it, which would be nice if he hit it, but he knows that when the molly goes down, his opponents, they don't have an op based on their economy, based on what he's already seen after the first miss. He knows he's safe to go for the repeak, especially because after the molly's down, they're not going to be sitting there expecting an opper to peek into that molly. Now, optimally, if you're them, you do hold that for a second, but even if you do, at best, s1mple's still going to get a shot off and die. So like the upside is most likely he gets a second shot off, or a third shot in that case, and gets away, which he did. Maybe sometimes you get that third shot off and you get traded afterwards, which doesn't happen. But that means at this point he's 12-2, and by the way, it's not going to get worse for s1mple in this game. But he started B several rounds in a row. This time around, Faze get outside B control immediately. s1mple pivots off of that A main hold to move back and catch Cypher jumping across just before the smoke blooms, and that's another solid shot, and then his team closes out the round. The thing about this game is he's just getting like a kill or two every round, more or less. It's like, it's not a ton of rounds where he's just absolutely dumpstering everyone. Couple nice nades, well, one nice nade that does a decent amount of damage. Again, he's in A. Again, BC game move in his exact direction. Again, he's just holding an angle and hits a relatively easy shot, although he's not making these shots look easy. All right, I'll say that. He's not making it look easy with these shots. But he's hitting the easy shots. He's just in the right place. And this is partially the reason I don't think this is like the most impressive performance from s1mple of all time, despite the fact that he's hitting, you know, a ton of frags. Maybe I'm underrating it myself, but it feels like BC game is just getting kind of owned, especially by the riflers of Faze. I would say this is very true on Mirage, that Faze's riflers were kind of forcing BC game to make some plays that just walked them right into s1mple. But maybe it's a BC game thing. Maybe it is that s1mple, again, he's just consistently in the right spot at the right time. So I actually am kind of not giving him enough credit, at least a little bit. But it does feel like, you know, if Faze's riflers were struggling a bit more, I think he might not be in as good of positions. Although that one is just a nice spot, a nice opening, nice play. Nock even gets the drop on him. Maybe Nock could have gotten that kill if he hit the headshot immediately, but s1mple does react very quickly, hits the shot back. One of the things that the greats do is, it's not that nobody has a chance to kill them. It's just that if you don't hit a nice shot onto a player like Donk, ZywOo, Nico, s1mple, like these top tier players, if you don't hit a nice shot, you're dying, right? And when they're on their game, when they're hitting their nice shots, you have no chance. But on their normal games, it's you either have to hit them with a really nice shot, or when it comes down to your like middle ground aim potential, you're just losing every time. And the same goes for s1mple in general. That's a nice shot through the corner of the wall to finish off the last player. And there he is, 18-2 now after another 3K. And that's one where he actually pivoted throughout the map, got himself in a ton of great spots, and got a couple of shots that other players might not have been capable of getting because he was willing to take an aggressive stance. And again, that's one of the things that s1mple has always done so well, is that he knows when he can get away with a slightly risky play that maybe could go wrong, especially if he misses, but still is an opportunity for him to take a shot where he's not at a massive disadvantage. So 10-1, I mean, Faze are kind of just running away with this one at the moment already. Again, S1mple is 18-2, just ridiculous. And it's not even like his whole team. Well, actually, his whole team's fragging out pretty well, except for Elige is 8-8. He will finish this round off with one more kill of his own in the 5v1, peeks in, finishes off Cypher, and that's the half. And usually I don't really care too much to show pistol rounds in particular. S1mple moves in, I think, second or third. Elige gets the first couple of entries, so they end up in a 2v3 post plant. I mean, you just have to hit some shots when it comes to Glocks, and he's going to hit a couple shots, right? Catches knock running in. Elige misses a whole bunch of shots on the back of Nexa, but S1mple will finish him off easily. 12-1 scoreline, 21-2. S1mple is 21-2. 21-2. And if you take a quick look, you're going to notice things don't don't go up from here. So actually, I'm going to show you a clip from Mirage. When I say S1mple is showing some flashes of prime S1mple, but just doesn't have the consistency yet, and sometimes he's holding angles and just not hitting the shots that he should be hitting. This is exactly the round I'm thinking about. Actually, there's a few rounds, but this is one of the primary rounds I'm thinking about where he misses this first shot. He probably usually hits that, sets himself up for a second shot. That was kind of wild. Somehow manages to get away, re-peek back, and get a kill. Now, he should be hitting the first shot. Second shot, sometimes you're taking a bit of a risk, but it's one that is totally normal. You set yourself up there in the right position. You just kind of try and figure out based on sound if they dropped out or not, especially if you know they didn't drop, then you can hold that angle for a second. The key, though, is that he actually gets away. So many oppers I see, they miss this second shot, and then they actually just get trapped. And especially if he gets hit there, I think he technically probably shouldn't be able to get away. But if he doesn't get shot, and because he typically shoots so fast, he probably more often than not doesn't get tagged after that second shot, I think he can get away safely. And then he gets himself into a spot where he's not just like losing the op, abandoning, losing the round. Like, Cypher should probably get that kill in his back if he does it completely correctly, or at least tag him up quite heavily enough that S1mple's re-peek shouldn't be possible. But that's because he's slowed initially because he gets tagged, which I think he didn't expect to happen. But then Cypher, the key is he's resetting the recoil on that spray, so he doesn't really have much of an opportunity to actually hit the shot against S1mple. And that's, again, I said this about the Anubis game, I'll say this here as well, that's what makes S1mple such a fantastic opper. The ability to create peaks, create shots like that where other players would just kind of be comfortable getting away with their life. S1mple is happy to go for the slightly risky play that he knows could create an opportunity. Ends up dying shortly afterwards. I don't think they win this round, and this is one where, again, straight up, if he just hits that first shot, they don't end up in... Actually, they do win this round. If he just hits that first shot, they don't need to do this ridiculous retake. But I'm still liking what I'm seeing in terms of he's showing peaks. He just needs to find the consistency, which I think is definitely possible when he plays a bit more. Now, the question really is just, does he get to that level? Is there enough time before the major for him to find that consistency? That's where there's a big question mark.